Hey, good afternoon, good evening to some, good morning to others. It's your boy, Pastor G. I'm back another 15 minutes of faith segment. Another quick word for you to help you get through the week. Just something that the Lord put on my heart, something I want to talk about. I'll get in, get out, put it on your mind. Just something for you to think about as you're going through your walk with Christ, as you're going through your day, and just something to stir your spirit to get into. So, my question for y'all this week, my question to you all is this: Are you a runner? Are you a runner? What do I mean by that? Let's take a look. Hebrews chapter 13 says, chapter 12 says this. Let us run with patience the race that is set before us, right? Over in the book of Ecclesiastes, the Old Testament, Ecclesiastes chapter 9 says, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not given to the swift nor to the strong. Proverbs 4 and 12 says, when thou goest, thy steps shall be strained, and when thou run, thou shalt not stumble. One of my favorites here, all right? 1 Corinthians chapter 9 says this: Know you not that they which run a race run but all, but only one obtains the prize? So run so that you can get it. And every man striveth for the mastery and temperate in all things. My last one of my goodies, Psalms 119 says, I will run the way of thy commandments when you enlarge my heart. When thou enlarge my heart. So what am I trying to get at? Growing up, right, me and my brother ran track, right? Both of us ran track at the same time. We both did different things, though. My brother was a 40-100 kind of guy. He had big legs, tree trunks. I remember one time he ran so hard he actually ripped the muscle in his thigh, right? But he had the 40 wrapped up, the short distance relays, the 100. Me, on the other hand, I was the 1,800 mile, 5K, 10K kind of kid, right? Had the same track coach, right? Until my brother got in high school. But for the most part, when we ran track, we were coached by the same guy. But he never coached us the same way. We were runners, but different kinds of runners. My brother's training dealt with the gym, dealt with strengthening his legs, his start, his mid-run, right? His break to make sure he didn't fall down. He would practice a bunch of different things because he was a short runner. He was a sprinter. On the other hand, when my coach got with me, it was getting in the pool, building up my breathing, building up my stride. And when you looked at me and my brother side to side, we looked totally different, but we both were runners. My brother was a lot more built. He was more masculine. The boy had big arms, big chest, big legs. Me, on the other hand, I was a lot leaner. I had some muscle definition, but the size of my body was a lot lighter than my brother's because I was running for endurance. What I'm trying to get you to understand is, are you a runner? Do you know what it takes to run this race that God has set before us? There are some things that God, the coach, is trying to build up within us for if we are running a quick race or we're running to endure. There's two kinds of runners. Now, my brother kind of gave up on running after a while. Me, on the other hand, I kept running for years and years and years and years and years. And I think that was part of my mentality, right? I was built to run long distances, so my mindset just said, keep pushing, keep going, keep going, keep going. That's what God's trying to get us to understand when these scriptures talk about running. And I do believe that Paul himself was one of those guys that loved the Olympics and loved to compete because he talks about different things related to athletics. When it came to running, I could always outrun my brother. Why? After the first amount of distance, he was gassed. He was out of energy because he only built himself up to run a short distance. This life that God has given us, the life that he wants us to live, the things that he's done, this is an endurance race, right? We have to work on our breathing, our stride, our diet, all those things. Whereas, let's say, a short distance runner, they take a lot of protein to build up muscle mass, things like that. I would take on carbs, everything like that, so my body would burn the energy, all right, and I could endure for a longer race. That's one thing that the Bible's always talking to about. We have to realize that how God had us set up is we must run. We have to have a perspective that we're going to run this thing on out. And if we are not trained the proper way, if we're not built up the proper way, if we have not gotten our bodies in the right shape, then of course we're going to break down. We're not going to finish what is set before us. when I was in training, right, I would do things like work on not being distracted, right? Because in certain races, they'll have bottle stations, they'll have people, they'll have other runners. Some runners, especially in like a cross-country race or let's say, a local community race, right? You have a 5, 10K sponsored by such and such, right? And those would be like my prep races. So my mindset was, don't worry about the water station. If you need water, grab it, keep it pushing. Don't worry about the runner. If you see somebody hurt, if you see this, if you see that, don't worry about that. Focus on my breathing, my stride, and getting to the finish. If someone took off in the beginning of the race and they just started sprinting, don't chase after them. You run your race. You stay your pace. Because a lot of the people who took off in the beginning, I could tell didn't have training, because halfway through the race, I'm passing those people who took off too quickly. So if I pace myself and I run my race, if I am not distracted, all I can do is focus on getting to the finish line, right? And that's what God is trying to get us to do. Some of us want this thing to be quick, fast, in a hurry. Lord, give it to me now, get it now, get out of the way. But we have not built up anything. So when there's portions of the race, when your body starts to kick back saying this hurts, or your breathing is like, nope, you can't do no more, or your body's like that, because you have not built up and you have not trained and you have not really been coached properly, right? Then you start to break early. You haven't listened to your coach. You have not, when I say coach properly, I mean you have not listened to your coach. You have not listened to your training. You're still trying to get it quickly, run out there and think that you can hold on to that and finish, right? Look today, most of our track athletes that do indoor, that do the 40 and the 100, stuff like that, they're ripped, they're defined, right? They're toned. But then all your long distance runners are very petite, right? Long legs, right? Small frame. They're built to go further. You can't take someone who runs the 40, right, and expect them to run a 26-mile marathon. Their body is not built for that. Just like you can't take a marathon runner and expect them to run a 40-yard dash time. They can run it, but they're going to run it at a constant speed. They're going to run it at a constant speed. So I'm saying to you today, check yourself. Are you built for this run? The Word of God is your coaching outline. It tells you everything you need to finish the race. It tells you everything you need so you can understand what you need, what you have to finish the thing that God has set before you. But if you get distracted and start looking to the left at what's going on with someone else, and you start looking at the water state, do I need water, don't I need water, and you start taking your mind off your race, you're going to have to tap out early. And that's one of the things that God's trying to keep us from. When he talks about we will mount up with wings as eagles, and we will walk and we will run and not be weary, we will walk and not faint, run and not be weary. He was saying because God will give us the strength to finish this race. He is coaching us on the best tactics to finish our race. Everybody is not the same. Now, me and you can be running the same distance in our race, but God might have you come out a little bit faster in the beginning and slow down toward the end. Me, on the other hand, he might have me come out a lot slower in the beginning and pick up toward the end. That's just how each one of our races is set up. I can't run my brother's race. My brother can't run my race. We can't focus on what everybody else is doing. We got to focus in our lane on our race so we can do what? Get to the finish line. That's what a lot of those verses we're talking about. It talks about I will run the race in our commandments. He's saying, hey, I'm going to hide that. David was big on that. Lord, I'm just going to keep focused on this word. I'm going to keep focused on your commandments. I'm going to keep this stuff with me so that I can endure. That's what he was talking about. So for us, when you ask yourself this week, are you a runner? You have to check your, I would say, the best way to say, check your practice. How often do you go and get in the gym? How often do you work out? Do you work on your breathing in prayer? Do you work on your diet? What you choose to put into your ear and eye gate versus what you choose to exclude. All those things are important in your training for your development for you to finish out this race, right? So take it from me this week, another 15 minutes of faith segment, a real short message. Check yourself. Are you a runner? Are you set up to run this race that God has set before us? And if you aren't, what are you doing to get in shape? What are you doing to get ready to run? Are you in his word? Are you studying how God operates? How you focused in on how God works? How he moves this way? How he makes this happen and make that happen? Have you spent time in prayer with him? Have you done everything you can do to get yourself built up, to run your best race, to perform your best, to be your best, to be exceptional at what God has called you to do, to be focused on those things. God has a standard, and the way to kind of walk in that standard is you have to train yourself. Kind of like how we talk about our children, right? Train them up in the way that they should go. God is training us so we can run the race that He has set before us. And remember what the word said, right? Only one obtains the prize. You can only get what is set up for you. And if you are practicing, if you are getting busy and focusing on what God has set up to get you trained, to get you to that victory spot, when that trumpet sounds, you're going to be there caught up with Him in heaven. And He can say what? Well done, thy good and faithful servant. It's your boy, Pastor G. Again, hit me up at www.BereanChristianFellowship.org. Again, www.BereanChristianFellowship.org, or hit me up at www.GaryMorris.org. You can kind of, anyway, on social media, we're Berean CFGA. That's Berean CFGA on YouTube and all your other, most of your platforms, right? Any questions, just contact us through the webpage. See the links. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming out. Pastor G and I'm out. Make sure you're built to run. Have a good one.